An outlying shell of intense sentiment drapes the face of most Tim Cantor canvases. This harks upon the quandary of the artist's paintings collectively, for there is great difficulty in defining the works of Tim Cantor as a whole. However, this same plight of clarity parallels one of his greatest natural abilities, an unconventional gift to translate solely through painted imagery a peculiar bond between mankind's most contrasting of emotions: sadness, joy, anger, tranquility, even hatred, and love. In his own unusual manner, Tim Cantor reflects upon contrasting feelings and then imaginatively renders these stark opposing emotions, one in need of the other, to find appreciation. Are these challenging tales personally connected to the artist, or are they Tim's inventive pry to squeak out the truth of one's genuine nature? Are you, the viewer of his paintings, a romantic, a realist, an optimist, a pessimist? Are you mindful of your feelings altogether? This unique quality to question oneself is never so powerfully portrayed as in his painted creation, Nostalgia. The largest scale painting Tim Cantor composed in his 44 years leading up to its foundation, Nostalgia is loosely based upon the sullen years of youth. Whose youth? Tim Cantor's? Not likely. His wife Amy's? Perhaps. But out of superstition, Tim tends not to attach Amy's spirit to imagery that may be perceived as saddening. That being said, Nostalgia, however, has an immensely positive side to its temper that far outweighs the gloom. And so, as we cannot say this painting is encouraged by the youth of Amy, we cannot strike it from what Tim Cantor leaves in its mystery. This figure represents, in fact, the vigorous lifeblood of present day, for in its entirety this composition portrays the embodiment of both past and present. For Tim, it is all so clear. Nevertheless, there is something in particular that is very apparent to him as the artist, yet not so evident to the majority of first-time viewers of the painting. Look closely, intently. Follow the lines of the skin and shoulders and neck. Mind the ribbon that flows from the hair of one and mirrors on the waist of the other. Look closely at the fibre of this tale, its soul, and one will find that these two figures are indeed the same person, adversaries of one existence from separate times and separate places. They are of one beating heart, painted in two thoroughly opposite ways of being. So, which is the past and which is the present? There is no doubt within his poetic words as to who in his painting portrays the past, for Tim makes this vastly forthright within his correlated poem, which partially reads, "With stricken words, through sour glass, you so gravely paint your youth, each memory sold to sorrow, each tale a course of clay, a girl in the shadows, curled up in waiting, fighting through the thick time to carve your strength today." It is amply frank that the figure curled up in the corner, the girl in the shadows, is assuredly the ghostly sad flesh of previous days. Painted in the dark in the most mirthless of poses, Tim begs of the viewer to sense her depression. Likewise, he thrusts the strength of the opposing counterpart at us, up front, basking in the light, muscles tensed and lengthened, exaggerated. And the fabric, painted so meticulously, so passionately with light and reflection, and breathtaking intricacy. So why add such irrefutable sadness into an image that, without that one heart-stricken element, would play out with such unspoiled beauty? Why taint our comforts of absolute serenity? Here lies the unpredictability and courage of Tim Cantor as a living artist in today's world. He gives up so much assurance to tell his story. He risks fear. He risks reluctance and objection, and even economical loss. For certainly, nostalgia would find a larger, more temperate welcome without its overtly sombre constituent. He could have settled comfortably, leaving his painting in a state of pure appeal, but then its tale would cease to exist. Its story, its soul, its profound meaning of gaining strength from the struggles and pains of the past would vanish, and the soul of the painting, of what makes it true art, would never see light. Like nostalgia, Tim Cantor's life as an artist will always be contradicting. The deep meaningfulness of his art is both the favour and hindrance of his success. It may be that his art will never find universal appeal. It may be. Yet, as he writes of nostalgia and its shadowy side, its past, its weakness, its cage, we might likely sense dismay and the constraint of his ways, yet continue on to the very next phrase that reads, "Damned lonely, damned sullen, and mighty." These 6 words, such powerful, artful words of contradiction, realization, and awareness. They define a consciousness that Tim Cantor absolutely knows his strengths, and that much of his appeal is found within his nerve to follow his own affections, and to commune his most enriching feelings in the dyes of his paintings. Be them warm, be them tense, be them lovely, be them dark, or even grave. Be them from the heart, be them as they may.